Hello everyone. Welcome to the 14th episode of London Satsangam Samituppa Suvaituppa. Today we have with us Raj Iyer, an IT consultant who has been associated with London Satsangam for over 20 years. He is deeply involved in social activities and charities, notably Mitra Seva, Chinmaya Mission, Radha Kalyanam, amongst others. He enjoys music and regularly runs marathons, including the London Full Marathon. Raj has lived in the UK for over 25 years and is married to Meena, who is a Bharatanatyam artist and teacher. His son Ashwin is a management consultant and his daughter Ritu is an intern in IBM. Originally from Mumbai, Raj is a big fan of charts and learned basic cooking from his mother as a teenager. He has since refined it over the years, and today he will present the ever tasty chaat dish, Pav Bhaji. Over to Raj.
Hi everyone. So today we are going to try and make as delicious as possible the very well-known dish of Pav Bhaji, and I'll bring in a bit of a surprise drink that goes with it towards the end. I'll keep this as a bit of a surprise till we finish the Pav Bhaji. So the first thing first, I have to show you what all we need for Pav Bhaji to work. So obviously you need the required utensils for it. So you need a pan, and it does get quite hot. So we need quite a splash. We need a cover for it. The most important thing in the Pav Bhaji is a smasher. You definitely need this. Without this, your Pav Bhaji will never be like will never look like a Pav Bhaji. And then you have the usual usual things that are needed. Obviously, a knife to cut the vegetable and a pan for actually making the pav work. So the pav gets roasted in this pan while the bhaji is made in this one. And then obviously you need a serving dish. And for the mystery drink, you need a cup. So that's the basic requirements for the utensils. Let me break down the pav bhaji items in a few broad categories. The first one I'm just going to keep here is these are the four key ingredients that you need from a vegetable point of view. Obviously, a lot of people don't eat lasoon or vengayam or onion, in which case you can decide to skip it. But pav bhaji doesn't taste like a pav bhaji if it doesn't have those two ingredients. Then lots of tomatoes, and you will need a few capsicums, because capsicum, tomato, onion, and garlic form the base for the gravy that we are going to be making. So today I'll be making it for 6 people because I have my in-laws here as well. So a kind of a ratio is that you can go with 6 tomatoes. You can go with 3 capsicums, half that. You need a lot of onions, so you'll go with 6 onions, and you will need a kind of few elements of garlic. So that's the first gravy making vegetable. Then we need a second set of vegetables which are to be boiled. So you will be surprised to know that carrot is also used in pav bhaji, but you just need a little of that. We can put beans as well, which is again something that you may or may not be aware of, but beans comes as a boiled part of it. Lots of potatoes. So literally you will have 6 to 8 potatoes that you will need to use for the 6 people dish. And then we also have frozen peas that you can use. So these 4 things that you see here need to be boiled. And as you see, they are actually already boiled and kept it to save time. But the ones, so this forms the gravy, this forms the boiled part of the pav bhaji, and then pav bhaji needs a lot of garnishing. So you will have onion that can be cut and sprinkled on top of it. Obviously, you need coriander, which will bring in a nice flavor to it. And a very key part of pav bhaji's garnishing is lemon, which you squeeze on top, and that brings all the flavor that's needed on top of what you've prepared. So that's the vegetable part of it. Then another key ingredient for pav bhaji is pav bhaji masala. I'm glad we don't need to make the masalas anymore, and you can get this from any Indian shop. Pav bhaji masalas are widely available. The ones that we are using today is MDH because we believe it's probably one of the more authentic ones. Then you need we can add a little bit of haldi powder. That's always good for Indian cooking. You'll need salt to taste, so there's salt that's needed. And we can also make it a little bit more spicy if you want by putting in some red chili powder as well. So that's pretty much what you need for the bhaji. The boiled part, the gravy part, the garnishing part, and all the spices that go with it. So that will give you all the ingredients that you need for the bhaji. And then the pav. There are lots of options available for the pav. You can buy buns as well. It all depends on your taste. The only thing we miss here is not the authentic pav that you get back in Mumbai, which makes a big difference. But the best pav that you can get is are the ones that you see here in terms of white rolls. I would suggest don't go with brown bread because it doesn't really go well with the taste. So go for white rolls, and obviously you can buy them in the Tesco's and the Sainsbury's of the world. The pav bhaji, interesting part of pav bhaji is that you can make it as healthy as you want, or you can make it as unhealthy as you want. So it's up to you whether you are more interested in the health part of it or whether you are interested in the taste part of it. And therefore, butter is absolutely a vital component of pav bhaji. I'm going to splash a lot of butter today, just to make it taste good. But again, the choice is yours. If you want to keep the fat low, you can either go for a low butter or you can avoid using a lot of butter. But do add some butter. Otherwise, again, pav bhaji doesn't taste authentic. So that's the things that you need to cook. That's the vegetable and the spice for the bhaji, and then you need the pav and the butter. Obviously, to start off, you will need a bit of oil as well to start to kick off the garnishing part of the onions. So that's where we are with the bhaji. I will come for the mystery drink a bit later. So let's start first things first. I'm going to start with the bhaji part of it, and I'm going to take the ones that I need most. I hope you can see this clearly. And before we start cooking, obviously the best thing to do is wash your hands, which I'm going to do now. And now you're all set to cook. So when you want to garnish, when you want to fry the onions and garlic, you have two options. You can fry them in butter or you can use oil. As I said, I'm going to be a bit unhealthy today. I'm going to start with butter, but you can replace that with a little bit of oil if you need. Yeah. So there you go. The is on. A bit of butter going in. Let's wait for the butter to melt a bit while I get the vegetables ready. So you can see here, thanks to my in-laws, they have already cut the onion and the garlic. So that was the morning task for the day. We have also cut the tomatoes and the capsicum. So these four things go in with the initial part. Then, as you see here, the boiled part of the vegetables, you can see the corn, the beans, and the carrot. And obviously you can see some potatoes here boiled and ready to go, which goes on top of the gravy once it's prepared. And last but not the least, we have this beautiful garnishing onions and coriander ready to go. So if you have all this ready, we can get on cooking. As you see here, we are now ready to go. We start off with putting a bit of garlic. I will have, we'll need to make a little bit golden green before we can move on to the next stage, but let me add a bit of onion to it as well. As you see, there's a lot of onion that is being used. This is the way we like it, because it becomes a very strong base for the gravy, and for pav bhaji, onions are, I would say, quite a necessity. But you have Jain pav bhaji as well, where they avoid these things. But if you want an authentic pav bhaji, then avoid it in a day when you are going to have, you can't have onions or garlic. Make it in a day when you are allowed to do that. So there you go. I'm beginning to fry the onions and the garlic. Let me add a little bit of butter to this. Pav bhaji is so standard back in Mumbai, and you can continue to eat it almost every day. So it's one of those charts that the aroma of it and the taste of it brings you, gets you to come back again and again to have that dish. Especially Meena, her standard dish, without even looking at the menu, every time we go to an Indian restaurant, even here in Wembley or Harrow, is pav bhaji. So it's one of our favorite dishes, and now you know the reason why I'm making it today. So there you go. I'm actually heating this whole thing in medium flame at the moment, and probably that's the right flame to use to get this quickly to a golden color. And it's nearly getting there. So as it begins to fry, let me get the next part of the vegetable ready. So we're going to put a bit of capsicum, and capsicum takes a little while to get itself smashed a bit. So that's why going with a medium flame is a good idea. Otherwise, it will take ages for you to cook it. So
நீங்க ginger யூஸ் பண்ணது இல்லையா? Green chilies?
No, we don't use green chili. So most of the masala, most of the aroma comes with the pav bhaji masala itself.
Okay.
And you wouldn't use ginger or chilies in this. The spiciness comes both from the masala, and second one, if you want to top it up, you can use red chili powder. So that is good enough.
Yeah, thank you, Raj.
Obviously, you can, if you like a bit of a gingery taste, then you can go for it. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But my surprise drink will actually take care of that problem that you raised now. So hopefully, if you hold on to that, you will know why we've chosen the drink that we've chosen today. So there you go. It's getting golden now. Right. So before I put in the vegetables, let me get the masala in. And also let me get a bit of I think you don't need to necessarily have haldi in it, but haldi is good for health. So there's no harm in using a bit of haldi powder. And I'm at the moment using, because we are making it for 6 people, I'm going to go with about 3 tablespoons of pav bhaji masala. So now that it's getting golden and also the masala going with it, you will start beginning to get the beautiful aroma of pav bhaji coming through as well. You can cut the vegetables even finer if you want the bhaji texture to be more liquidy. Um, and anyway, once we start putting the other vegetables in and start using the masher, all these things will become a little bit more flatter than what it looks like at the moment. So we have put the masala in, we put the haldi powder in. Let me add a little bit more butter. I'm not putting lots of butter, but enough to keep the frying on. Now I can begin to feel the smell of it. I have a bit of a cold, but I still can. Okay. So the next thing's next. I think tomatoes get done faster than the capsicum. The first thing to do will be to add capsicum to the already fried items here. Again, my father-in-law has cut this pretty nice and small, so hopefully this should start getting mixed with the onions pretty quickly. So the next step is now you are beginning to again keep moving the ingredients here, the vegetables here, and we are still on medium flame, which is important uh, to let the cooking happen. Obviously, if you have other things to do, you can always cover the vegetables for a while and then come back again. But we are not going to do that. We're just going to carry on.
பாம்பேல இந்த மாதிரி இந்த பெரிய பிளாக் தவால நடுவுல பண்ணுவா, ஓரம் எல்லாம் வெஜிடபிள்ஸ் எல்லாம் பொட்டேட்டோ எல்லாம் அடுக்கி வச்சிருப்பா இல்லையா? As and when needed, they used to mash and make it and give.
Yeah. So what they do is, because it is not something that can be prepared very quickly. This takes a lot of time, and this is like a fast food, right? So being pav bhaji is considered a fast food, which means that you need to have a lot of this ready, and you just mix it up once somebody gives an order. Okay, there you go. The green bits are getting better. I'm going to use a bit of a masher to even push it further. So don't start making pav bhaji if you don't have a masher, because as I said, otherwise it will turn out to be a bhaji, a normal vegetable bhaji, and not a pav bhaji. So it's very important that you have something that will continuously let you keep the vegetables mashed up. So this is happening as we speak, and hopefully in the next minute or two they should get softer, so we can go to the next step. So a lot of Gujaratis, obviously, and lots of Jains, they avoid using onions and even garlic, and they use other vegetables. The good thing about pav bhaji is, if you really want to look at it as a healthy diet, it has lots of vegetables. As you saw, we're using capsicum, we're using tomatoes, we are using potatoes, we are using peas, we are using even carrot and also beans. So you can see that this is like a kind of a nice type of an avial, um, you know, um, but a chart avial where you are bringing in lots of nice healthy vegetables in one place, and you can, as I said, you can make it as healthy or as as rich as you want. But today is LSS day, and we are going to give up our health consciousness for a day and enjoy the taste of a good pav bhaji. So there you go. The capsicum is now nearly done, and the next step for this will be to add the tomatoes. Um, the as you see, we use a lot of tomatoes. So the taste of the pav bhaji comes from only two main items here: the onions and the tomatoes. So again, um, be very lavish in using tomatoes because it is something that really brings out the authentic flavor of pav bhaji. But also make sure that if you don't have tomatoes, you can even use the tin tomatoes. So it doesn't really matter. It makes it faster if you're in a hurry and if you don't have the time to wait for the tomatoes to all get properly done. Then you can go for the canned, peeled tomatoes as well. It doesn't, the taste is not very different, but in terms of speed, you can get things done much more faster. Okay, so before I put the tomatoes, I'm just going to give this one more mash. And as you see now that the capsicum is beginning to mix up with the onions. And now I can add the tomatoes to this. And from this point onwards, things will become a little bit more um, liquefied because tomatoes would begin to give out the water. And you can now see the difference. You have lots of onion, you can see lots of tomatoes, and you can spot the others in far lesser quantity. So that's how it needs to be. Uh, so three things in terms of volume that you use. So you have onions, you have tomato, and you have potato. So these three form the main chunk of the vegetables. The others can be added. A capsicum is definitely required because it brings in a bit of crunchiness to this whole thing. The rest, whether you want to use beans or whether you want to use peas, these things are things that you have it in the fridge. A lot of people try to use cauliflower in this. We ourselves, as a family, we don't like it because when you break the cauliflower down, it just leaves those very small molecules, floating up in the pav bhaji, and it really, for us, it doesn't really work. So we avoid using cauliflower. But I know a few people who have used cauliflower as well within the context of pav bhaji. So the idea here is it's a mash of all the bhajis. So feel free to use whatever you think you like and whatever you think is going to give you the taste. So as you see now, we can very quickly let the tomatoes. Here it's no more being fried. It's more of the tomatoes leaving the water out and making the whole thing a bit of a nice little semi-liquid at this point. So again, to help in the process, I'm going to take a masher. Again, going to go down and start letting these things come together. And still on medium flame. Important to be on medium flame, not too high, not too low, just to make sure that the cooking process doesn't take ages. And when you buy tomatoes, make sure you buy standard tomatoes. Otherwise, the skin the tomatoes, if they peel off differently, then you will find it a bit difficult to eat when the bhaji is ready. But in any standard tomato pack will be good. So now you can see that everything is coming together in terms of the gravy. So this is the gravy part of it. So now before we get into putting anything else, I'm going to add a little bit more masala on top. I am now going to add the salt that I need. So again, here I'm cooking for 6 people here. So I'm going to go with about 2.5 spoons, but again, you can make it to your taste. And if you want to minimize salt, you are free to do so. And let me also add a little bit of red chili powder, because this is the one that would kind of give it a lot more spice. And again, this can be done to your taste. So I've added about 1.5 spoons, and you can taste it. You can make sure if you want more, you can add it. So there you go. The mashed gravy part of the pav bhaji is nearly ready. And it's slowly beginning to come together. This will become quite difficult to recognize um, in a few minutes, because it will all get properly mixed up. There you go. One more bit of smash. This feels more like tomato tokku, because you can see a lot of tomato here. And obviously the onions are now hiding behind the tomatoes. So you can see a flavor of red. So if you've seen the pav bhaji color in an authentic Indian Mumbai context, it will have a lot of blood red. So it is generally very red. And the reason for that obviously is because the overarching color of that comes from the use of tomatoes, which are used in a decent amount of quantity here. There you go. So we now really got the mashing complete, and now you can see that I need to reduce the flame a bit, because it's now getting to a point where all the liquid is being is evaporating because of the heat. So I've reduced that a bit. So now we are ready to put in the next set of vegetables, which is already mashed and boiled. So we have the carrot. So small amounts of carrot is good for health. So no harm in putting it. It also brings in a little bit of sweetness to pav bhaji if you add it. Then we have beans. Always good to have beans, and it just disappears in the pav bhaji, so it really doesn't matter. It doesn't bring in any difference to the taste, but it just brings the healthy part of it. And then you can see that I'm using a lot of peas. Again, peas is something that you can use in the quantity that you need. These are already been boiled before, and so they are kind of ready to go in terms of getting mashed with the already existing gravy. You can see the beans are looking full now, but once we use the masher, all this disappears into small parts. Same thing happens with the carrot as well, because they are already boiled. So when you start making it, please make sure that you start off the day with putting your potatoes, your beans, your peas, and your carrot in the cooker, and keep it ready for once it's done. Then it's much easier for you to get on with your pav bhaji. Now we're again going to go with the last part of the bhaji, which is potatoes. As I said, potatoes form a very important part, and again we have the boiled potatoes here, and obviously you can put it in and you can smash it. That's not a problem, but I'm just with clean hands, and I'm actually breaking this down and putting this in. And I've actually used about six potatoes, small ones, as a part of what I've done here. So potatoes, tomatoes, and onions are literally of the same quantity. I'm just going to wash my hands and then come back here. Okay, so before you mash, take a glass of water and put it in, because now it has to start looking like pav bhaji, and pav bhaji is liquidy, as you already know. And then you just go straight at it, just go into it nice and slow. Make sure that it doesn't splash a lot, because if you don't have a bigger vessel, then you have a challenge that because of the water, the boiling water, you will probably have a bit of a splash of the hot water over your hand. So be a bit careful because you're using the masher. And now you can see the white potatoes mixing with the red tomatoes, and you're beginning to get to the look and feel of what a pav bhaji looks like. My carrots have not got boiled that much, but I have to really work at it and make sure that it's completely mashed. We don't. The important thing about pav bhaji is you shouldn't feel a chunk of anything. You should not feel potato chunks or peas chunks or onion chunks. It should all be mashed, and therefore mashing it is a very key part of it. And even if it takes time, make sure that you do it. Sometimes potatoes don't get boiled as much as we want, but keep working at it and make sure that it is reduced to a level where it is manageable. Otherwise, it just you don't really feel that pav bhaji is what you're eating. So pav bhaji should be very, very smooth and very soft when you're eating it. So we are kind of nearly there in terms of the overall ingredients that need to go in. I need to add a little bit more water. Let me grab some. And what I'm going to do is leave this on for about a minute or two while I prepare for the pav to be ready. So giving it a chance to boil together. I'm just going to close it. And now let me quickly bring to you the requirements of pav. So pav, we generally use a high flame because the pav needs to feel kind of burnt to some ways, and you can make a normal pav. So if you want to completely avoid butter, obviously just heat up the pav as normal and eat it, but there's no fun. So what you're actually supposed to do is you can make it in three varieties. You can just heat this up, or you can add a lot of butter to bring in the taste. And the third way, which is what we normally prefer, is what we call as masala pav. And masala pav is nothing but you use the pav bhaji masala that you already have, which you use in the bhaji, but you add a pav bhaji masala in the butter, and then you kind of roast the bun around it. So let's heat this up, and this is on high flame, and this should be very, very quick. And the way you normally do it is, again, you want to bring in an authentic feel. Take two pavs together, and you need to just open this up. The Indian pav works really well when you do it this way, because it's called as ladi back in India, if you know, in Mumbai. The pavs that we get here are not exactly the same kind, but you literally have to have the masala and the butter inside the pav and a bit of around it. So what I'm going to do now, the first thing I have to do is add butter, and as the butter gets ready, I'm just going to give the pav bhaji a mash again, a little bit of mash to make sure that it's getting to the shape. Just remove this so you can see that now it's really coming to the look and feel of a pav bhaji. And my carrots have also managed to break down completely, and so have the tomatoes. So have the potatoes. So it's looking okay. So let me get back to the pav. So what you do is, I'm going to make the ultimate version of what we use. So you have the bhaji. You take a bit of the pav bhaji masala. Just sprinkle it on top of the pav. Sorry, on top of the butter here. And all you need to do is, it's a very traditional Indian way of rotating it around, then turn the other way around, and then again rotating it around. So now you can see there's a golden color that comes in, and that's what pav bhaji should look like. So this is how you would make a pav, and you can actually make at this rate you can make at least 20-30 pavs in about 5-10 minutes. So because you just put it on a high flame, put 2 each, quickly turn this around, go to the next one, and you can see that it becomes but if you see, I don't know whether you can see it should have this burnt feel to it. That's what pav bhaji should look like. So you should have the burn feel to it that comes on both sides. Okay, I'm now going to switch this off because we'll be making some hot pavs for us when we start eating ourselves. But this is the version that we're going to use for you. Right. So now, coming back to my bhaji again, and I think the bhaji is more or less done. Always, like any chef, you should taste it. Make sure that the spice and the salt is all to your taste. And this is the last opportunity for you to do all that. Mix it up again, and kind of get it ready for serving. So that's your bhaji, and I can see one potato up there which I need to mash. But otherwise, again, you can see here there is a lot of white, a lot of red, and everything else is kind of more or less disappeared. And your pav bhaji is ready. You can add more water. We prefer a pav bhaji which is kind of very semi-liquid. So I'm going to add a little bit of water anyway, because the water would disappear by the time we eat. So you put the water in, and then the bit to work on is the garnishing. So you can basically take a bit of lemon and squeeze it on top. You can also cut the lemon and keep it ready for people to use if they want a little bit more tanginess to it. And then obviously you can take a lot of nice coriander and sprinkle it all over. And you can close it, and you can switch off the flame. So what you have here is, let me bring it out. I don't know how it is at the moment because we haven't tried it, but this is the bhaji, and this is the pav. Leave it here, and let me quickly arrange this on a plate. So there you go. You can have the bhaji to one side. You can put the pav on the other side, and then you can, as I said, give the onions for people to add to taste. You can leave a small portion of lemon if they want, and you just finish off with the final touch. So this is pav bhaji, Mumbai style, that
Fantastic, Raj.
love you to try it, but unfortunately you can't. So we will try it and we'll let you know how it tastes. Okay, so we have maybe 2-3 minutes, and I'm just going to give you the drink of the day that goes with this pav bhaji. And we are all South Indians, so at the end of the day, whether whether we eat pav bhaji or not, we need to bring in a bit of flavor, a South Indian flavor to it. So what I'm going to make, and it really goes well, and you can trust me on this, is what my children call as Raju More. So Raju More is nothing but more, but with lots of spice and ginger, and coriander, and obviously curry patta in it. So all you need to do, it's not going to take too long to make. It's a very nice frothy drink that goes really well with pav bhaji, because it helps you kind of balance the butter that you have. So all you do is make it nice and spicy. That's the beauty of it. You should feel the kick when you have the Raju More. So this is like 4 nice chilies in it. You can take literally a small portion of ginger, lots of curry patta. What is curry patta called? Curry leaves, yes. And again, curry leaves, put a decent amount of it, and it's quite interesting. I put a lot of coriander in it as well, and it's all going in. And then take your usual LG asafoetida, and you can be very liberal. Just use a very decent quantity of the asafoetida in it, and all you need to do then is take our usual curd that we get from the supermarket. And again, I'm making it for about 6 people. And as my father-in-law reminds me, we need to put a bit of salt in this. And again, make it liberal when you use salt, because the whole punch of the spice and the salt is what makes this interesting. So all you need to do is put this on in a mixer, and I'm just going to dump it here, and I hope this works. You should give it a good round, and just, I think it's nearly done. I think it's the ginger that takes a while to break up. Right. So what you have here is the base for the drink. Now you just need to add water to this, which I'm going to do now. So what you have now is a frothy butter milk. This is neer more, as we will call it, but this is a slightly different because we use some of the other ingredients as well. So it's ginger, and to answer your question, Soumya, this is where the green chili and the ginger coincides with the pav bhaji that you have. And all you need to do is, the beauty is it will be nice and frothy, a very different kind of a drink. And the greenness comes from coriander. So let me serve you pav bhaji along with what my children call as Raju More. And this is the dish for the day. That's it. Thank you everyone for watching.
Superb.
Okay, thank you
So
everyone.
that is really
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Raj. And
Very good
we have
demonstration.
some announcements to make from London Satsangam.
Yeah.
So this is the first season that we are doing, and the season is ending by next week. And the show started, one coincidence was the show started with Dr. Raj in the first episode, and we are having the Raj in the penultimate. So it is a nice coincidence that happened now. And the show is concluding next week with Jayasree's Kitchen. And so she'll be presenting some new delicacies to us the next week. So all of you please join. And so with this, the first season is concluding. And on the 10th, we have Srinivasa Kalyanam hosted by UK Sangeeta Sangam. So all of you please join that as well. On the 11th of October, London Satsangam is hosting a memorial show for SPB sir. So please join that, and we will be circulating to everyone what the show is going to be about, and do join and support. From 17th to 25th of October is going to be Navaratri Nrityotsavam, which is going to be hosted by London Satsangam. So all of you can join, and we'll be sharing all the Nrityotsavam is going to be on Facebook, and we'll be sharing all the details with everyone. So thank you all so much. It was a great show, and Raj, it was a fantastic demonstration. We all completely enjoyed it, and it is mouth-watering. Maybe today it could be pav bhaji at home.
Yeah, it is only pav bhaji at home. Yeah.
Yeah.